Morning, YouTube world, Facebook world, world in general. Good morning, happy Friday. It is our therapy talks today. And blooming Nora, I've missed it. I've missed it because we didn't do it last week, did we, Lynn?
No, we didn't. No, that was my fault. I apologise.
Right, no, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Things happen and life happens, and that's absolutely fine. So, but this week we're here, and Susanna's coming too. So she's going to be a little bit late, but she's joining us because she's got a client. So
Yeah, that's good. It'd be good to see Susanna.
oh yeah, it's I love you all. This week we're going to talk about perception and perspective because oh my gosh, so for me on a personal level, well I've needed the art of perspective so flipping much recently, because obviously it's challenging times, really challenging times with what is going on in the outside world, the lack of control of the outside world. And all we can control is our own feelings, thoughts and emotions and our actions and our reactions to that. So that's what we have. But when you're living with people as well, this can be so challenging, and challenging to a point where it's like a frustration, because you can't, because it's not how you do things, it's how they would do things. And I'm talking about not even just down to your children, it's down to, your partner, your lodgers, who you're interacting with or living with on a daily basis. It can be very challenging. And last night I did feel extremely challenged about a situation, and I got so challenged and frustrated down to the point that I was just like, I was so zoomed in and focused on this challenging situation. And I did not feel good. Oh, I did not feel good at all. And I literally had to stop and reset and refocus, because I realized if I zoomed out on the situation and focused on the gratitude that I got from that situation, rather than the thing itself that was peeing me off to the hilt, right? Massively and ongoingly, if I focused out, zoomed out and looked at all the good things that it was giving me and didn't switch onto that that big thing in my mind, my perspective changed and I just felt better. I felt calmer. I felt more grateful. I felt more like me. I felt more like I didn't want to listen to anything negative, and I just wanted to focus on the good, to raise my vibration, put on some good music and just to feel better. So that's what I did. But it happens to everybody. Everyone is challenged at the moment. Everybody is getting situations, some more than others. And I think it's just so important to know that we are flipping human. We are human. We are not incapable of feeling these emotions. And that's what makes it beautiful too, because we are capable of these emotions. And where there's a yin, there's a yang as well. So it's finding the yin and the yang and just recognizing that it can pass. And it's where we choose to lay our energy, where our energy is flowing to, that is going to get bigger.
Yeah.
We want that to get bigger, isn't it? So today, I just felt, this is why I said the other day about perception and perspective and focusing on seeing the light, because it has been an ongoing situation in my household that I'm being kind of dragged into a pit that I don't want to be in, that I'm having to zoom out. But last night, quite intense. So, and I really did kind of stop. I just had to stop and literally go, hold on a minute. Is it actually important? What else do I get? What am I grateful for this situation? And that's really helped me. So that's why we're doing perception. And also from another point of view, me rambling on, perception at these times, yet again, another person in our industry who's quite a known figure around, especially where I live, has taken his life. Young man.
No.
And I've met him a few times, and a nice man, a businessman, a nice man. But my God, see, what we perceive is not always reality. What someone gives out to the world is hiding. It's a mask of a million faces. And we're all struggling through different areas at this time. but it's just it's so important. It's so important to just focus on what is really important, because it doesn't matter what people think of us, whether we're perceived as losing something or losing your business or losing this or losing that. What the important thing of losing is who you are as a person, and becoming that authentic self. And I'm seeing it a lot in our industry and other industries, of course, and all the nurses that are suffering, the doctors and the NHS. There's a lot of pain going on out there, and I'm forever grateful to everybody, and I'm feeling it. I feel it everywhere. But what we need to do is just, when you can't control the outside, control the inside and focus on what makes you feel better. So that's my intro. Quite deep straight away, but it's important. And we are powerful. We are, our brains are incredibly powerful, and we are what we believe we are. So it's about choosing to believe that we are more than what we believe we are, because we are that, and what people see, the beauty that people see in ourselves, it's real, and we might not be able to see it on a day-to-day basis, but we're important. Every single one of us is important to every, to another person. It's a lifeline, and we're connected. So I'm gonna just throw it out there. Perception, perceiving. Should we go to you first? So can we go to Linda, because Benjamin, you just spoke a little bit, and we'll go back to you in a minute. But Linda, perception.
Yeah, perception. So first thing is, as you've said, we are far more powerful than we think we are. We have choices that it's very easy not to notice we have that choice. I was sitting on the side of my bed this morning. Part of the reason I was late to the video, sat on the side of the bed, just feeling as if the task of getting dressed was bigger than me. It just felt like, and it was boring as well. It's such a boring thing, getting dressed. And
I'd like to see you naked. It's fine.
And I was listening to Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer's a Christian teacher, but she teaches on one thing and one thing only, and that is enjoying everyday life. And that is a marvelous topic. And so she said this morning, and that's when I got dressed. She said this morning, some of you are praying and going around praying and expecting to be able to bring about miracles, and you haven't even taken authority over a sink full of dirty dishes. It just made me laugh and laugh. And I thought, she is so right. And the idea of taking authority, perhaps it's a Christian thing, but it isn't only a Christian thing. We understand it as Christians. We know what that means. But it applies to all of us too. We can take authority over our feelings, and what we're talking about today, I believe, is our attitude. We can take authority over it. It is not bigger than us. I know that it feels bigger than us at times, and it feels out of our control, but that's not the truth of it. It's not. And of course, what did I do this morning? I immediately got dressed and thought, how ridiculous that I'm letting a pile of clothes stop me from starting my day. But the other thing about perception that I've had some good lessons in this week is that, as you know, my daughter's been in hospital with her baby, having open heart surgery. Baby's only 5 months old. And she has struggled, my daughter. My daughter has struggled. She has seen her baby suffer She's seen her baby suffer from many things, from tests, from the operation, from withdrawal from morphine. She's had a really difficult fortnight. It's nearly a fortnight now, I think. And so as a family, we have been supporting her. And one of the things that I'm sorry, I'm full of Joyce Meyer today. No, I'm not sorry about that. She's a very clever woman. So a couple of days ago, Joyce talked about, or yesterday, she talked about putting yourselves in someone else's shoes. And I had to do that yesterday because Lizzie, my daughter, was really struggling. She got some news that really knocked her out yesterday. And I tend to be set up so that I immediately look for how I can take authority over this. What can I do then? I don't say that I'm sometimes not upset and cross. I sometimes am. But my automatic response is, right, okay, how can I see this positively? I think that the phrase, well, at least, comes out quite often. So, oh, I've been told this, it's not what I wanted, but at least. Mm-hmm. And so yesterday, she and baby's daddy were kind of knocked sideways by some news. The operation has been a success, but there's a part of it has not, which means she will have to have other operations in the future. And I could understand what Lizzie said. Lizzie said, oh my God, it's never going to end. I could understand how she saw it that way, because there's always something to dread. What Joyce Meyer's talking about is there's going to be all these operations then, maybe several of them, to dread. And so, however, it's not how I would see it. It's not what I would do with that situation. And so I started to put myself in Lizzie's shoes, because I thought I need to be a support to her. Yeah. Now is not the time to give her lessons in positive thinking. It's not what she needs right now. She needs family support. And so I thought, how do I know what to say to her? And I put myself in her place. And do you know what I realized? Putting yourself in someone else's place means you take everything as it is for them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean walking their path in your shoes, not at all. It means walking their path in their shoes.
That's right.
And what that meant I could see for Lizzie is she is very vulnerable. She's very sensitive. She's very vulnerable. She feels for her baby. Possibly more, she's more vulnerable to feeling her baby's pain than some people are. But those are the shoes she's got, aren't they?
Yeah. Sometimes we just need a hug as well. Sometimes we just need a hug.
Well, she's in hospital with baby, so there were no hugs.
but like sometimes it's just that metaphorical hug. Sometimes physical hug can just calm.
And I know, because she's told me before, and it enabled me to do it yesterday. Well, I hope I did it. She's told me before that if we dive in immediately with, oh yes, but it's all going to be all right, because she feels two things. She feels we don't understand the seriousness. We've not understood the seriousness. It's actually not been true with Annabelle, but that's what it makes her feel. And the other thing is, she doesn't feel her feelings have been acknowledged. And you can see that, can't you? Because this is what we're like. We pile right in with, oh yeah, we've got to fix her right away. We've got to fix her and get her up and standing on her feet again. So yesterday, and this is all about perception, isn't it? That is our perception of what she needs. It's not, I can see now what she needed. She just needs some time. She needs some acknowledgement, so you can say, oh, that must be awful for you. That must have been, I can see that's bad news for you. I'm so sorry that it's been that way. And then what I did yesterday is just shut up then. Shut up and give her some time.
Yeah, that's right.
Let her go, because she also acknowledges that she has to be a bit dramatic. This is how she processes. She's a bit dramatic to begin with. And then, but as she mentions, and it might go on longer than it would for us, but she will not stay there. She will come out of it, and she's right. And she's made such progress with this performance with Annabelle. She's now moving through it faster, much faster than she used to do. Things might go on for a week or 2 weeks. Now she's out of it by the end of the day.
Amazing. See, the thing is as well, we're given this gift of life, and it's such a beautiful morning, Susie, darling. Good morning, darling. Good morning, gorgeous. We're given this gift of life.
I'm sorry I'm late.
That's
It's
fine.
all right.
I was just changing the perspectives of my clients. So.
always. I'm just going to finish. I'm going to answer Benjamin in a minute. Then Susie, you can listen to what's going on to the situation.
Yes, please,
So yeah, sometimes it's I can't even remember what I was saying now, which is another thing. What was I? Yeah, it's the gift of life.
The gift of life.
And the thing is, we really actually have no control of our time, right? But we've got to celebrate the fact that there are people out there that can really help us and make our time as best as possible. But we are all human. That's the point. And it's a lot of it is acceptance. It is a lot of it. It's processing and accepting what can we do in a situation, whether it be your beautiful daughter, Lizzie, or whether it be in another area of life and business. It's accepting, okay, so what is reality? What can I do about it? What's important? What's important? What do I want to feel? I'm going to go to Benjamin. Benjamin, darling.
Hi, everyone. Firstly, Linda, my thoughts and love and best wishes to you, your daughter and your granddaughter.
Thank you, Benjamin. Thank you.
Hopefully all that pans out the way you want it to. Real pleasure to be here with you all as usual. I was just journaling as you were both talking, and we hear it quite a lot in this industry, don't we? And we get it. When people talk about there's great power within you and all that. And they're right, we know this. There's power within us all. And I think from personal experience, what they're making reference to is higher mental faculties, aren't they? So a higher mental faculty, perception, would be one of them. I think Bob Proctor speaks a lot about that, doesn't he? So perception's a higher mental faculty. And whether it be him, Wayne Dyer, whoever's talking about it, if you change the way you look at it. For me, and I'm super honest, I think it was about 10 years ago, I only understood what the word actually meant. How you can change the way you're looking at something and then it changes. And then obviously experiencing NLP and things, that broadens my knowledge up and understanding of it. But it really can change your life. And one of the greatest explanations of it that I can recall was, and this technique works really well for anyone, it doesn't matter what the situation is that if you've got a problem, issue, challenge, and Danielle was sharing some with Linda and myself yesterday. I had an issue with a client. There was a client to one of the businesses. There was too many moving parts for me to be able to control it. So, I just needed reminding of that from my wife. But one of the greatest techniques that I've learned is that if you've got a problem, issue, challenge, take a pen, take the problem out of your head, put it on the paper. Now you've taken it out of your head and it's on the paper. That's really powerful in itself. But a really, really, really good one is if you've got people around you, like if just listening to Linda, if I was, you know, and I know it's easy for me to say because I'm not there, but I would, if I knew Linda, which we do, I would take a problem out of my head, put it on paper, take a seat, and then look at it through the eyes of Linda. Or how would Linda think about this? How would she feel about this problem? This in itself can be used for anyone, as long as obviously they're exceptionally good thinkers, and they have a great outlook on life. So, for instance, it would be, how would Joyce Meyer look at this? That would be a good one. And I've just wrote a name down, Linda, so I will check her out, by the way, because I like that. But it's really powerful. So I can sit in a dining room table and have 6 chairs around me, put a problem or an issue or a challenge in the middle of it, and think and draw the energy of somebody else, even somebody who's passed. How would they look at it? Because once you understand that you have the power within you to do this by shifting your perception, it starts to become softer and softer and softer and softer. And before you know it, you've got the answers and you're moving on to something else. It's one of the most transformational processes and understandings that I've ever encountered, and one that I still use today. I remember somebody saying to me some time ago, they said, Ben, you must remember that people are always right from their point of view. Now that is huge, because they are always right. As far as they can see, from their level of awareness, I didn't say limited, from their level of awareness, they're right. And for some of us, even especially when it's family, we can be like full throttle. No, this is the way. I've got my shield, I've got my sword, and my way is right. And I don't believe that's true for us, any of us, to think like that, because whoever we're dealing with, whether it be friends, family, loved ones, clients, whatever the situation is, they've got their perception, they've got their point of view, and that's right for them. All we can do, in my opinion, is be that shining light and example for them to use this technique, if you like.
I love it.
Putting it on the paper and then maybe coming into your shoes. How would Danielle think about this? How would Ben think about this? How would Linda? How would Joyce Meyer think about this? You know, I use people who have passed. You know, I can use Andrew Carnegie when I'm talking about business. I mean, how long's he been gone? You know, but I'm just giving you a little, or a new mentor, or someone I've stumbled across on YouTube. How would, you know, Ed Milet think of this, or Tony Robbins? It doesn't matter who it is, but it certainly helps me. And this is important, without paying for it, if you get what I mean. So I'm not paying hundreds or thousands to go and sit with a coach or mentor. I'm just embodying how they would look at it from what I've learned, or you know, and it certainly soothes it. I remember losing, just quickly, we sold a house in Birmingham. We moved to Cornwall. We took the equity out of the house. We put it in a business. A lot of people do that. Somebody took the business for 100 grand, and it went just like that, all the equity. Now, my perception of that was very different to my loving wife's. She's still not over it, and she's my wife, and I love her dearly, and I work hard for the family now. But mine was, and you'll all appreciate this, I think Terry Alston maybe told me this when I first met him, was, what is there to learn from this?
Yeah.
And that's just stuck with me forever. It's one of my mantras. You know, what is there to learn from this? So we could have been, this is terrible. And for a slight day or two, I was fuming. But then I started to get back into my knowledge and understanding of, actually, there's something to learn from it. I'll never put equity into the businesses again. It's just not worth it. There's too many moving parts. And this is a great lesson maybe I could teach others or share with, like on a platform like this, that things happen. And when you've got a higher mental faculty like perception, then you've got all the aces. And sometimes a video like this is a powerful video, by the way, powerful theme, powerful people, and putting yourself in their shoes is wonderful, Linda, because it's exactly what we're talking about here. If you took it out, put it on paper and sat down, how would they look at it? It's really, really, really wonderful. And something I'm still using today. I do it for, I'm reading a book a week. And the first book I picked up, I've been smart enough to buy all these books, by the way. Now I've got to be smart enough to read them all, which is a really, really, really big goal of mine this year. So I'm doing a book a week. And the first book I picked up was Success Principles. I told Canfield I'd read it every year, start of the year. So it's 564 pages. Now, Ben before would have thought, that's too big, I'm going for a smaller one. What did I do? Change my perception of it's just 80 pages a day.
Nice.
So I've made something big look smaller. I broke it down into, we were just talking about, Danielle, celebrating success, short-term goals. It's huge, people, because they're confidence builders. So each day I'm celebrating. I've got the music on like we had at the start, Danielle, and I'm going, yes, I've done that because I broke it down. So I just changed my perception, the way I see a big book, into being it's only 80 pages. So it's great, and one of the greatest things that I ever learned and started to understand, and still I'm understanding it even more, you know. So that's my take on it. I hope that somebody's going to get something from that. That
was perfectly said as well. That was perfectly said. And the power of that's one of the things that we've kind of learned as well in NLP, isn't it? It's the fly on the wall, but it's also that is so flipping powerful when you can just take someone that you admire and just put yourself in their shoes and see through their eyes. Because the thing is, it can be so challenging. And Susie, I'm going to go to you now in a minute. But it can be so challenging when you're in that state of almost panic. It's a frustration, there's an anger, there's almost a panic, and it's an anxiety, and it's taking you, and you're not in your right mind. It's getting from that point into the place where you've got the mindset again that you can look through those eyes of perspective. And sometimes it's challenging, but it will pass. Susie, what would you say about that?
Well, plenty of things. I hope I'll be coherent because I have so many ideas in my mind, and I assume what Linda talked about, because I don't know, probably you shared you shared with us yesterday, right, on the group, Linda,
yes,
right?
that's right. It was along those lines.
So, well, before getting into my example, I wanted to say something. Because I've been through this situation where my daughter was sick for months and she had to go through a surgery. So it is a very challenging situation, not only because, you know, it's this type of situation when not only that it seems hard, it is hard. And it's not only just a perception in terms of, oh, I find it's hard. It is hard because of the actions that you have to go through, visiting doctors and not sleeping at night and witnessing your child going through a tremendous pain. So it's not just a perception in a sense that, how can I see this good? It's not good. And there are situations in life when life is shitty, excuse my French. And you have to go through them. And in these moments, because talking about hearing and reading what Linda said, I thought that was absolutely fabulous. Because in these times, you know, when you talk to people, nobody really feels what you feel, because nobody really understands. People can imagine how harsh it is to have a child going through something like this. But when you go through it, boy, it sucks.
Yeah, man.
It is devastating because what it entails. So when people tell you, you know, you should be happy and you should feel positive and you know, it's going to pass. It doesn't work. It's not what you can hear. It's not what you can take in. But what I learned from this experience, I think it is this one, is that you have the resources. At the moments when you feel alone, it's because you can deal with it and it's yours to deal with it. We somehow think that others, when they are going through a bad situation, they won't be able to deal with it. But we have to have that trust that there's something inside us which is greater than my perception, greater than my mind. And that beyond this, what's going on, this physical reality and the pain that I'm going through, there is something greater at work. This is what it brought me. Understanding that life has ups and downs, and life is not always being, oh my goodness, it's going to be so cool and I'm going to be full of success. No, life is not that. life is what is. And in that pain, in that struggle, there is life and there is love and there is something greater. And this is what I learned, that sometimes I have to just trust.
That's
Even
right.
if it feels bad, even if it's painful, even if it feels like the end of the world, there's nothing else left to you but trust. And there's something growing in you despite the pain. And even if you're not positive, and even if you don't get to do anything and to change your perception because you can't, I just couldn't. There is something that happens in us, something that grows without us seeing it later when it's done, or when you grow out of it, or when situation changes, because eventually it does. Everything changes. So this is what I wanted to say about that trust that develops, that letting go that happens eventually, and it brings you also into the now, because you have to admit that everything we discuss here, it's about mind, right? Mental activity. But this type of experience brings you to what's true now. You don't think of the future anymore. You are focused here and now, and it's here and now that matters. And it's only in this very instant that I can choose. You realize that the only place you can actually choose is now. And I can choose now for now. And in 10 seconds, I will choose again for then, and so on and so forth. I can't choose now for how I'll feel tomorrow. I know that I won't be sleeping at night because my daughter will wake up several times in an excruciating pain, and I'll be having to, act like a zombie and do it. But now I can choose that, and I can choose it, and it will work, and maybe it won't. But I think there is a muscle that strengthens there. And I think it's very limiting to believe that humans can't deal with pain.
Yeah.
I think that is very limiting to think of human beings just, being able to function only when they're powerful and successful. No, human being life is this, with the worst parts of us and with the most amazing parts of us. And when we can see that actually I am there and I continue to exist, and there's something that goes on, something, that awareness that is there, despite the pain and the struggle, then something grows. And we are being pushed from this limiting existence into something else, that invisible, that unknown, that defined, that part of our existence which is not seen, that power which is in the pain, the power which is in the struggle, and life itself, it's magical, but you see it after. So that's what I'm trying to say. When you go through it, it's hard. There are some lessons in life where you just can't, and accepting and letting go that you can't be happy and positive when something bad happens, it's okay. There is a process, like in mourning, you lose something, you have to get used to it, you have to mourn, you have to cry for it, and then that's the process that completes.
Right.
So I don't know if it makes any sense. I'm sorry, I just,
Yeah, that's wonderful, Susie. Thank you.
What do you think, Linda? Because you're going through something a bit way, but you're going through something similar.
And it's multi-level for me.
Yes.
And the reason I have had to do a job on this supporting Lizzie is because Lizzie's my child. My child is suffering because her child is suffering, and her child is my baby granddaughter.
I know.
So it's kind of that multi-level thing as well.
When in my life I've had so many ups and many roller coaster downs as well. Through when Ethan got ill, that time when I was told he was going to die, that was the same situation. Like, not the same, it can't ever be the same, but it was the same thing as what days when I had my business, my light lead business that I'd grown like a baby for 10 years, and then it went to having to let go of something that I trusted in and believed in, because it wasn't an existence. That was a loss too. Just all throughout my life in different situations, my record deal with Simon Cowell, when that all went Pete Tong, and Princess Diana died, and I got left with with nothing after I've worked and dreamed for everything after all those years. And I was again, you know, at base level. So all of these different areas, although they're completely different, you're still at that same point in that bottom of that roller coaster when you're going back up again. And I think the one thing that I can tie everything together was you lose the sense of panic. You become detached. It's almost like a detachment. And in that detachment, you find a peace.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And in that peace, that's where you start realizing that you cannot control these situations, and you don't try and control these situations anymore. What you can control is what you're thinking and what you're believing. And it's such a powerful, I'm getting goosebumps all over me now because I feel it. Yeah. It's such a powerful state to be in, because you start focusing on what I started focusing on: me. Who the hell am I? Because I lost it. I was so in a world of confusion and just mess. It was like a cloud, and it was like I was just in all of those situations and more in my life. I've been at that point where I've had everything just ripped out from underneath my feet, and I've gone from everything to feeling the perception of starting again. Like, what do I do? But all I can say is every time that's happened, that calm, that peace has built me into who I am now. And the magic that was NLP, that when I learned that gave me the tools to stop old patterns, the old feelings happening. So I wasn't bringing that in to any situations that were happening, so I could deal with them from a place of now. And that's NLP. I will thank forever for that, because you know, from my bullying days at school and all of that it was a loss, but it wasn't a loss like how I'd experienced it. But it was almost like dealing with that healed so much, and it gave me strength. And that peace is strength and starting again. So I love what every single one of you said, because it's perfect. It's all of you are perfect.
So I'm seeing that the starting point for that piece is accept.
And detachment, actually. It was detachment. It was a detachment, and then it was a focus.
Oh, right. Yeah. So taking yourself out of, as Benjamin said, take yourself out of it. And
in that detachment, it was almost like exactly like what Benjamin said. It was a detachment on who I was. I wasn't seeing it through my eyes. I was seeing it through like a camera lens, every situation. Yeah. And then from that, exactly as Ben said, that is the powerful perspective. So if you're in that perspective, that's probably a good place to start seeing it through other people's eyes. I never had that at that time. All I was seeing it was from my perspective, from outside. Yeah. But what a powerful thing to be able to do that. Benjamin, that was perfectly said what you said, and Susie. And
you know what I would like to add, you know what actually gave me more difficulty when dealing with that was the thought that I should not go through this. So just I remembered. It's the idea that this should not happen. I should be, you know, enjoying my daughter. My daughter, an 18-year-old girl, should be enjoying her life and her teenage years without going through this. And this I should not, and this should not happen, or this is not part of life. So I think this gave me most of the pain. When I accepted and I said, no, this is not something that should not happen. If it's happening, it's because it's happening, and because this is my life. So the acceptance for me happened at this level, when I understood that there's no other path that I could have taken, you know, because that's what gives us lots of pain and frustration in life, when you think, oh man, I should have done that, and I could have done that, and you know, this should not have happened. This is not my life. Yes, man, this is my life. This is my daughter's life. This is what it is. Yeah. And when I accepted that, then things got to be smoother, and that's the part of the attachment, the detachment and the acceptance.
That's right. It's the whole why me in a negative.
Why me? Yeah, the why me. Yeah.
But then you also have to say why me in the positive situations as well. So it's that power of knowing that it's the why me. Thank you. Like, it's the gratitude on the situation, throwing light on it, rather than the negatives, because that's what we're attracting. As soon as we're in that negative spiral, that negative cycle, it's like a whirlwind, and it's so easy to get sucked in. And it is that thing of just stepping outside that whirlwind, or stepping inside the center where you're not going to get caught up in that mess, that wind, and just staying in the calm and just being present. Ben, what's your thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, as you know, one of my goals, I said it earlier on to you, is to listen more and not interrupt when people are speaking. Even my children and my wife, I'm doing my best at that, the best of my ability, and likewise here. And you're all incredible, you know that. And you know, I was just writing down as you were all speaking. It is about being kind to yourself, and then you can progress that into, you're allowed this. I'm allowed it. You're allowed it. Linda's allowed it. We're allowed to have those moments of actually, I don't know all the answers. I don't know all the answers, you know. And for a lot of us, whether it's business, especially this industry, but business and or whatever it might be. I'm not saying it's on here, but sometimes you can have ego get in the way, or you can have your perception of things, you know what I'm saying? It's right for them what they think, it's right for me what I think, but you haven't got to know all the answers. And this way, the way we were just speaking, and what we explained earlier, is a really, really, really good way of doing it, because it's a technique, a process, a tool, something in the toolbox that we can all use, and one that I'm very honest, I still use it today, you know. And I need to sit back sometimes, and let's be honest, I'm not on here saying I do it 100% of the time. Sometimes I just go with my ways right, and I'll just battle through this. But maybe I needed to be on here today to actually be honest with myself, some more self-examination, and go, you speak about these tools and processes and techniques, but you're not using them 100% of the time. Maybe you should, and maybe then you would see more. And that's my stand on it, really. And the starting point, I wrote that down. Whoever said that, I love those words, the starting point. And understanding, I suppose, the perception and the theme of it, and you guys here are all incredible. That probably is the starting point. You know, understanding what everybody's banging on about greatness within you, power within you. This is what they're talking about. It's not what we've learned. It's not what we've, the education we've got or anything like that. It's understanding that there are people, and the wisdom of the world has been shared with us. Don't get me started on why people don't have library cards, because most successful people and people who have learned to do things have written it down for us to read. But it is the starting point, in my opinion, and that is an understanding of this higher mental faculty of perception, and how you are able, if you are willing, to look at something differently, and that would soothe it and bring about some change, understanding, and movement forward. We get it. Some people are not willing to do it. What I would just finish up on from me is that very important bit what come up was, if we can be to our children, friends, family, clients, and the world at large an example. That could be one of my main goals for my life, is to just be an example, or be one of those people, who you'd put round your dining room table, imaginary obviously, that how would Ben look at this? Because just in that could be worth everything. It could change someone's life just by that, you know. So exceptional theme today, wonderful people, pleasure to be here. Your friends, your family, your followers are the benefactors of some really powerful conversations that you continue having. So
it's important.
You guys are phenomenal. Beyond, I'll be perfectly honest with you all, girls, and I won't go on. You know, appreciation beyond description for what you do, because it's incredible. You put yourself out there. You've got a reason why you're doing it, to serve others. You've got the purpose. It's phenomenal, and I'm really, really proud of you all, because we're all learning, we're all willing to go on live, we're all willing to get together, and we're all willing to learn from each other and be super honest with where we are. And that is special. That's special.
And that I find that I learn something every time I'm on. I regret now, I stopped doing it for a period of time, a long period of time. And I regret that now, because whatever I would have learned is gone now, isn't it? Hopefully it will come back round. Danielle, can I just share a way that my daughter sees things? So my daughter, Becky, my eldest girl, she used to, and this is perception again, she used to, she's a single mum with 3 children. Those children can be quite challenging. And so her life can be quite hard. And but she cracks on. She just cracks on. And she gives of herself as well. If you say, oh, can somebody help? She is one of the first to say, yes, I'll come over right now, even though she's got plenty to be dealing with in her own life. And so she's been a single mum for her eldest boy is 14 now. So she's been a single mum for 14 years and now she's got 3 of them. Anyway, but she cracks on. So she is to notice people in her circle that seem to have everything going for them. They didn't need to work. She's a horsey lady, and some of these people were horsey friends as well. And they didn't need to work. Their husband was earning plenty of money. They appeared to be in a good marriage. And all they had to do then was get the kids to school maybe and back, and whatever else they had to do. And then, you know, their time was their own. They could be riding and doing whatever, hacking out. And yet some of those people were complaining, not just complaining, sorry, were suffering and struggling. That's the important thing, not complaining. They were struggling. And Becky thought, well, why is that? Because if I had that situation, you know, I wouldn't be struggling at all. And she began to see it as it depends. It depends. So it's about what you've got on your plate. She feels she's got a lot on her plate. These people appear to have not very much on their plate, but she saw then that it depends what your plate is made from. And some people have only got a paper plate. They may not have much on their plate, but it's only a paper plate. Whereas she has been blessed with a metal plate. It's a gold plate. In fact, some days she thinks she's got a platinum plate. And I thought that was a lovely way of seeing and adjusting our expectations of people. It depends what their plate is made of. And their plate is their resources, isn't it? It's their resources at that time, which in that very moment they can't change. They've got that plate at that minute. They might work towards having a stronger plate in the future, but at that moment, it's a paper plate.
That's the thing as well. As I said, it was like what you see everyone else doing, which you're aspiring to, and maybe envious in certain ways, is not necessarily the reality. And that's the thing. What goes on behind closed doors, we don't know. And the one thing that is guaranteed is that there will be change, and change is constant. And it's embracing that change so that when it does come, it doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks. You're becoming that flow. So you're moving with the change and you're accepting it and you're just going along your journeys. And the one thing that what Benjamin was saying just before as well is I'm so grateful that I have a group of people that I get so flipping much out of. And that is why it's like, I do, because this is like pulled me through the hardest of times as well throughout this pandemic. And it's my duty as who I am to flipping share my gifts, which are you guys, to everyone else. So we all benefit, because this isn't just about me. This isn't just about us. This is about everyone. And together we can make a difference. 100% we can make a difference just by using our perspective on what we can do rather than what we can't do. And the funny thing was as well, I was going to share, it was like the other day I got a sales call, right? And it was from someone in oh gosh, stocks and shares trading, trying to get me to join their platforms, right? You get millions of things every day, right? So he phones me up and he goes, oh, I'm from your trading thing, and from your trading desk, blah, 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 whatever he said, right? And instead of just going, oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about, don't know what you're talking about, I thought, no, today I'm going to do something a little bit different. And what it was, and what I said to him, I said, but isn't trading just gambling? He goes, oh, no, you can make a lot of money. People, you make lots of money. I said, oh, but does money bring you happiness? And he just stopped. He was going, you know, he goes, how would you feel if you could afford the kids' best schools? And, you know, what change would a lot of money make to your life? I said, oh, so you're saying that trading equals a lot of money? I said, so you can't lose then? And he goes, well, no, he knows the market does go down as well as up is going. I said, oh, so I said, but I'm happy. So what will it bring to me? He goes, I said, so are you saying that money will equal happiness? What I need? And everything that he said, I just threw back positivity and love. And by the end of the conversation, I think I was on the phone for him for about 15 minutes. Just
he wanted to have a chat with you, or a treatment with you.
He was like, thank you. He was like, thank you. And I said, you have a wonderful day. I wish you lots of happiness like this. I came off the phone and I was like, I feel really good now. Just throwing it out there because they're doing their job, right? I get it. They're doing their job. They're doing what they need to put the food on their tables. And there's a way you can deal with people. And yes, it can be frustrating when you're getting inundated with a load of sales calls. And I get it on LinkedIn as well. You know, when you get I don't know, as coaches, you must get it too, where people go, you know, are you making enough clients? Are you,
yeah,
you know, yeah. And I actually get quite offended to that because I actually think to myself, well, in one perspective, I know they're just doing their job. They're just trying to make money. But in another perspective, I think we're out there trying to do our best to help as many as you can. And you're trying to come in and make money off of us. Hold on a minute. If you really care, then help us. Help the coaches without payment.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
That's perception, because it came to my mind earlier. Yeah. And I think it's important. Perception. If you want, I think this body and this mind, it's like an instrument that you're looking through. So we can only perceive what we learned, right? We can only see what we saw, and we can only, think according to what we've learned so far. So one way for me from this experience was, so perception is limited by this set of beliefs that I have, by this body that I have. And, you know, if you talk about Ayurveda one day, you'll understand more. But I think one way to be able to perceive more is by purifying this. It's as if I take my glasses and I clean them. Yeah. So purifying your body and your mind through different practices is helping to have a clearer perception of things. And that's why it's good to learn how to swim in a swimming pool. So when you go out in the sea and you have to swim through the storm, you're more prepared. So that's the purpose of spiritual practices and clearing, constantly cleansing, constantly clearing your body, your mind, fasting, and all these things help purifying. It might not help for me. I kept doing all kinds of purifying practices during this period of time, which was 8 months. I couldn't feel the effect because right on the spot, you don't feel. But it accumulates, and over time, there's something happening. So one thing about perception is purifying. And I know Benjamin was saying that you have to be an example. For me, it's more not that you have to, it's good to be an example. It is becoming as pure and as clear as you can so that you reflect as much as you can the truth, the divinity, and the light. Because the more you create around you, the more you're blocking into this set of definitions. If you clear yourself and you just become this vessel, a pure vessel, then light can come to you, and you can be who you need to be in front of the person that is in front of you, instead of coming as a rigid, this is Susanna, and then I'm going to be the positive person for you. No, when you are pure and you're clear and you're in that spontaneity of being, then you can be with each person as they need you to be with them in that particular moment. Anyway, and
Love. It's been an hour. It's been an hour. It's been an hour. But what I want to do is just throw out, is there anyone else that wants to say anything before I finish it up? So is there anything else to be said? I think we've covered so much. Oh, I think we really have. So I think what I'll do is I'll just say, sending love, light, strength, and everything to everybody out there, all over the world. And I will leave with the quote from Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer, where my exact, I'm trying to get the right words exactly. Okay, this is one of my favorite quotes. I just wanted to get it exactly right. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That is powerful. So on that note, God bless every single one of you. Anyone that needs any help, you join any of our channels, speak to us, we're here for you. And we'll see you again for another Therapy Talks. I'm going to sign off live if I can. Hold on, stop live stream. Right, stop live stream. I've stopped that and I can stop recording. Guys, you were amazing.